Hey there everyone, it's Caitlin, and in today's video, I'm gonna go back into my Bookie Babe book review series. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. I'm just really behind on uploading, but today's is super exciting. So before I get into it, I want to remind you that you can always hit that red button below and subscribe to my channel if you like these reviews, and feel free to drop into the comments what book you would like me to review and read next. I am currently reading 3 different books, which is a first for me, so be ready for a lot of uploads to this series coming very soon. So make sure you subscribe and drop those titles that you want me to read into the comments. I am very fortunate to have been able to be a beta reader / a first reader for this book, The Locket by Brittany Bessonett. Her and I are kind of in this same Facebook group, and she was looking for beta readers, and she graciously sent me a copy to read and review. So thank you, Brittany. I'm so excited. And let's get right into the review. So right away upon agreeing to do my honest review, she kind of sent me the book description, and I was immediately drawn in to just her initial description. And this is the same description that's on the back of the book. And I was immediately drawn in. And throughout I was a little bit nervous, just because, again, this is a book that's typically not my preferred genre. So if you've watched a lot of my videos, you know that my preferred genre is romance drama, or young adult romance novels, kind of those high school romance, though, those types are what I typically go for. But lately I've been drawn to more mystery suspense novels. And this one kind of falls into that category, a little bit of a drama. I will say this video will have some minor spoilers. I'm going to try and keep the major spoilers out of it. And you can find a full review of this book on Goodreads as well. So I'm Caitlin McClure, your geeky girlfriend on Goodreads. If you are on that app, you can follow me there and check out my full review with spoilers over there. I try here on YouTube not to put too many spoilers, but I am going to try and give a very detailed and honest review. So the main character in this story is Katie, and this story is very interesting because it's actually told through a set of perspectives. So Katie's perspective is one in the present, but it also tells Katie's past, and it also tells the perspective of the police officer detective who kind of handled Katie's case. So Katie was involved in a sexual assault, and it follows her past, present, and the detective's past, present. And I really liked that, the duality of it all, seeing how the storylines come together, seeing the details that kind of led up to what was happening in the present. And just as a reader, you got all of these pieces to a sort of mystery that all come together in the end. So I'm not going to give away the end for you guys, but I am going to tell you just kind of some of the things that happen in the book. So throughout the events of the book, Katie has moved several times. She is suffering from pretty severe PTSD because of the assault that she suffered. And she moved out of the town where that assault happened shortly after high school. She got to the point where she couldn't even go to school anymore. So she moved, and then she lived in one city for a while. Then something else happens that kind of is embarrassing for her. Due to her PTSD and the symptoms that she has, she kind of lashes out at somebody that was close to her and then runs away again, for lack of better words. So then she ends up in this really small town. The whole thing is set in Texas. And I like that. I like that they're all like American hometown characters. And so she ends up in this really small town of Texas. She meets a really nice girl, and that's her best friend. And that's kind of how the story opens, is she is meeting her best friend for just coffee, drinks, girls' night. And Katie has not told her best friend what has happened. And she kind of wrestles with herself, trying, should I tell her? Should I not tell her? And then and it goes back and forth. So you have to kind of be really paying attention when you're reading, because the story will jump 9 years present, today, and it'll jump back and forth between the perspectives, which is nice. But if you have a hard time following stories like that kind of jump back and forth, this is not going to be the book for you. This book does have a lot of suspense. The ending was unexpected. I thought I had known how the ending was going to be, and it was a shock. So I really liked that. And the book just kind of is Katie's navigation of her PTSD, and her healing and the journey that she's kind of been on. And not only does she have PTSD from her sexual assault, she also is still grieving the loss of her mother, and is you could say that's PTSD as well. And she just has some pretty severe anxiety, like almost obsessive compulsive behavior. So there's a lot of mental health in this book also. And so I say that with the warning of, if you are a sexual assault survivor, you're a PTSD survivor, this book is very empowering. However, it could also be a trigger. So note that. And I believe on the back or in the very beginning, she says that as well, that it could be a trigger for some people. So it's called The Locket because during the sexual assault, Katie loses her locket, and the whole story, like, she kind of just feels like her world unravels after that point. And then throughout the present day events, she kind of she finds it again. So I'm not going to go any more into detail about that, but it is interesting how she finds it in the present day events. It really is a book that shows that everything happens for a reason, and the people in our life are there for a reason. And it also shows that, like, you need to trust your gut and trust your intuition, because Katie kind of learns that the hard way in this book. Overall, I felt it was very gripping. I really could not put it down. I read it maybe a little over a week it took me to read it. I'm trying to remember where in the summer I started it. I think I started it in like the end of July, and finished it right before I went on my vacation a few weeks ago. So it took me just a couple of weeks to read it. The font on the pages is pretty small. So there's a lot of text on each page. And it is, there's 20 chapters, and I think an epilogue, and then there's like a couple of letters from the author and an acknowledgments. Yes, there is an epilogue. And it's just under it's 225 pages is where the epilogue starts. So a standard size read. Like I said, if you are really into mystery and suspense, crime novels, this one is for you. There is a heavy crime, like a true crime kind of feel to it. I really liked it. I really liked the characters. I liked how real they were. I liked how raw they were. And the interactions that happened between everybody, I thought was really realistic and very well done. And also, the author does a really good job of highlighting those little things throughout our day that can make a difference on if we're having a good day or a bad day. Like, there's a part in the book where she's cooking dinner and she's talking about like the smells in the kitchen just reminded her of those good days with her mom. And so just kind of, thinking of people who suffer from anxiety and all of the, mental health needs that are present in our world. The author does a good job of highlighting those things throughout our day and those things in our life that really do make a difference on our mindset for that day. And also, there are some suicidal ideations and suicide mentions in this book. So if that is something that is a trigger for you, you're going to want to avoid that as well. Overall, I felt it was very well written. The characters were very realistic. My favorite character was the detective. I really liked his approach, and he could be construed as the bad guy in this story. And so I liked that. There was like this little bit of morality that was kind of conflicted. And his wife, how she handled all of that and his choices, was all very interesting. Actually, I lied. The detective was not my favorite character. Ty was my favorite character. And you kind of meet him a few chapters in. It's like 6 or 7 chapters in, and you meet Ty, and he was my favorite character. But I did really, really like the cop. I sided with the cop, and you just kind of, like I said, you're put into the mindset of like you have to, it kind of makes you think what you would do if you were in that situation and given your past and your experiences and how they would mold your current choices, was kind of interesting. And I feel that justice, in the end, I do feel that justice was served to the villain of the story, even though I was not expecting it. So without giving away too much of the book, I would definitely rate this book. I usually do these out of a 10. And honestly, I would rate this book a 9 out of 10. Here's my complaint. And I already actually told Brittany this. Also, the characters themselves were very realistic. The events in the book were very realistic, other than there is a part in which Ty claims to have seen Katie's mother. And me personally, I have a hard time like relating to that. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen and that, it could have been true, but that's just not something that I believe in. And so that's the only reason that I give this book a 9, is because that one part, I'm just like, that kind of lost the realism for me. It just was very hard to believe. And if I was Katie, I was putting myself into Katie's shoes, I wouldn't believe that. Like if somebody told me that was how, I'm not going to say, but if the rest of the events in the story, if I was Katie and Ty told me that was what happened, I wouldn't have believed him. So that's the only reason why I give this book a 9 out of 10, is because of that one scene. Other than that, I felt that Katie's ending was a good ending. I thought that everybody in the story received justice. And I felt like it was very realistic. And like I said, if you like drama, true crime, suspense, or mystery, this book would hit all of those in a certain aspect, or a certain, it would check off those boxes on your list, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So overall, very engaging, very thrilling, very well written, and just a great read. So, but again, heed my trigger warnings. And think about that before you pick this one up. You can buy it on Amazon, and it is really great. I was drawn in from the beginning, and it took me about 2 chapters to be like really, really invested in it. And as soon as the flashbacks started, I was all in. So that's today's video. I give it a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much, Brittany, for letting me look at your work and review your work. I really appreciate it. Thank you for signing my copy. That's a nice little memory that I'll get to have now with this book. And it was very well done. So congratulations to you on your debut novel. And if anybody else has a novel, if you're watching this video and you want me to review your debut novel, comment, or you can find me on Instagram at your geeky girlfriend, and we can arrange for me to read and review your novel. So thank you so much, Brittany. Thank you to everybody watching this video. And I can't wait to read your next one, Brittany. And I highly recommend The Locket. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.